Hello, it's Jeanette with Amazing Paper Crafts. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm back with another video tutorial. And in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how I put together this cute little clutch. It measures about 5.5 inches this way, 3¼ inches tall, and about 1.5 inches deep here on the bottom here. And I used a black base on here because that gorgeous paper with all that foiling has a little bit of black in there. So I'm going to show you this paper. It is just stunning. It's from the Simply Elegant suite. It's called the Simply Elegant Specialty Designer Series paper. All of it has a foil design on it. This one has all three, the gold, the copper, and the silver on here. But look at how beautiful these papers are. Absolutely gorgeous. Now they come in 12 by 12 sheets. I cut them down to 6 by 6 just for my when I store my sweet products together. But I'm just going to show you how I did this, and of course we're going to change it up a little bit. And we're going to use a different design on the front, and I'm going to use some copper. Okay, so I've got some beautiful copper. We'll put that aside till we're ready for it, and a strip of copper foil sheet. This is basic black, and this piece measures 8.5 by 9¾ Okay, we're gonna take our Simply Scored scoring tool out, and on the long side we're gonna score this with the big ball. On the long side we're scoring it at 1.5 inches, 1¾ inches, 5 inches, and 6.5 inches. And then we're going to turn this around, and what you want to do is you want to score this at 3/4 inch and then 1.5 inches. But I find that it's kind of sometimes difficult for me to get in there with this, with my fingers in the way holding the paper against this. So I'm going to do it on this side because you're going to need equal measurements or equal score lines on each side. So if you're going to do it that way, you're going to score it at the 7-inch mark and the 7¾ inch mark. And then I'm going to just turn that around and do the same at the 7-inch mark and the 7¾ inch mark. Okay, and we are done scoring. Now I'm going to fold and burnish all of my score lines, and I'm going to use my bone folder to do that. Okay, now I have all of these score lines burnished and folded and burnished, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this strip, you see that, this strip right here, and I'm going to fold it the other way and burnish it down. And I'm going to do the same on this side, okay, because they're eventually going to be turning the other way or folding the other way when we put this together. So I'm going to do some trimming, and I'm going to take out my paper snips, and on this part right here, this is the way the purse is going to go together, like this. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to trim off these 4 little sections here. There's 1, 2, and then those 2 little narrow ones right there. If you could see that. And I'm just going to go ahead and trim that off on both sides, because that's our top. Okay. And this one here. Try to be as neat. Now I'm trimming off the score line on the edge here. Okay, now what I want to do is trim these sides here. And I like to trim off that score line too. That kind of makes it set better. So that's what I'm doing, just taking that score line off. Okay, and then I'm going to take off these flaps on the on this part that's going to end up on the inside, I'm just going to trim it off right there at the score line. Just whack it off. There you go, like that, and like that. Okay, and now it's time to do some die cutting. But before I do that, I want to place this copper foil strip on here, and I am going to adhere it down. Let me bring in my silicone craft sheet, and I'm going to do it this way. And instead of putting it on the foil, I'm going to put that adhesive right here. And I think I'm going to use some of my multi-purpose liquid glue for this, because I want to make sure that it stays nice and firm down. I don't want it to be peeling up. And it gives me a little bit more wiggle room so that I could make sure that it's positioned in the right place, because I want it right at the edge of that score line right here. That there's a little 1/4 inch right here in between. I don't want to go beyond that. You see how I'm putting that? And yes, it's a little, the piece is a little bit bigger than I need it, but once this glue dries, I'm going to be trimming that gold piece off. So just making sure. See how it's a little bit bigger? It looks like I cut it a little bit lopsided, but I want to make sure that it's nice and straight. Okay, because I'll be taking this to the die cutting machine when this dries, and it's going to dry in about 5 minutes. So I will be right back in about 5 minutes to show you what I'm going to do next. Okay, so I've given it a little chance, a little bit of a chance to dry, and I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess from the back. Okay, now I'm going to be bringing in a die, actually a couple of dies. The die that I'm going to be using is, the main die I'm going to be using is from the Borders, the Basic Borders die set. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, you get 6 dies on here. But you see these little 2 holes here? These 2 holes, that's actually a semicolon. And that semicolon came from the Playful Alphabet dies. So I thought I would just find the center and tape it on. I found the center of the die, counting the scallops, and that's the center. So I just taped that right there so that I could place it right. I need to place this die right on the edge, and I want to make sure that it's right in the middle. So I am looking at the scallops and how much it's hanging off on this edge right here. Okay, and that looks pretty good right there. So I'm going to take a piece of tape, and I'm trying not to tape anything here because I don't want it to mar this gold part. I already got a little smudging of glue right there. I'm going to take another little piece of removable tape, and I'm going to put this right here. Okay, and so what it's going to do, it's going to cup those 2 little holes for me in the flap, and a nice little beautiful scalloped edge. Now I'm taking this to my die cutting machine, but before I do, I have to fold these in because the plate on my die cutting machine is only 6 inches wide, and this is of course 5.5 inches here. But what I want to make sure that I do is the top plate that I lay over this copper foil, I want to make sure that there are no mars on it. In other words, a lot of people just use a plate and never cut into it. That's the plate you want to make sure is on top. So I'll be right back. So also what I didn't mention is that when you're taking your die through the machine, you want to stop right here. You don't need to take the whole thing through. Just stop when you cut this part here. And that's what I have done. I just stopped at the tip, and I don't have any mars from the plates. And now I'm just going to poke out these holes. Gave me a little hard time because there's double thickness here, but it went through. I didn't have really too much trouble doing any of that. Okay, so now I'm ready to put on my designer series paper, and I have these 2 pieces here, and they each measure 3 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm going to lay one piece here in the back and one in the front. This is the back and this is the front here. So I'm just going to use some seal adhesive. Let's see. Grab my silicone craft sheet. Make sure I don't get glue everywhere. And like that. Okay, so now I need to place some adhesive. I'm bringing in a second craft sheet. You can tell this is my first one, or one of the first ones that I ever got. And then I think the newer ones look a little more sheer. I kind of like that to see through it. But let's see, on the front, let's test this out. Where I'm going to need to put my adhesive. Since this is the front part here, I need to make sure that I put my adhesive on the inside flap. So that means I need to put my adhesive on the outside flap on the back. So let's go on the inside, and we're going to put a strip of Seal Plus adhesive right on this strip right here. I'm going to put a couple of strips like that, and we're going to go like this and do the same. Oops. I want to start that over here. Sometimes seal is so strong it'll peel your paper. Okay, just make sure that there's no seal over the edge. You want to make sure you fold that in on itself. And now on this side here, and this is why I wanted that silicone craft sheet, is because I don't want this sticking to my grid paper. So I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to put a couple of strips here of seal adhesive on this side. Okay. Oop. You can always tell when this tape is starting to go wayward. Okay. All right. Oh, and I also want to, I'm seeing both of this designer series paper. I want to make sure I have a little strip of seal on these shorter tabs too. Okay. You don't want to put it on the other side. You want to definitely put it on the side where you can see the designer series paper, because what you're going to do is you're going to fold this down, and you're going to take the back side first and fold it down like this and let that grab. Okay, I'll do the same on this side. I'm folding it like this. I'm letting that grab, and then on the front, when I fold that in, I want to make sure that the top edges match perfectly. And that should just fold really nicely here. See, it's going to fold real nice like that. Okay, make sure the top edge, put some of that in right there, and make sure you line it up with this edge on the back too. Okay, and if some sticks out a little bit, just trim it. Oh, I got glue all over everything now. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold these in, and I'm going to mark it where I need my holes on this side here. So I'm going to take a black Sharpie marker. Hopefully it'll show up. And you see how I have this kind of folded to where this is flat up on top? You want to make sure you do that, and take your Sharpie marker and draw a circle. You can do this with a pencil too. Probably a pencil might be better. I can see the marks. I don't know if you can, but I can see them next to each other. And I'm going to just grab a regular hole punch for these, because I can't, I can't put this through the die cutting machine right now because it's all folded and put together. But you have to put it together in order to mark the holes in the right spots. Okay, here we go. Now I can put some ribbon on here, and the ribbon I've chosen is the black 3/8 inch glitter organdy ribbon. I'm going to take about 12 inches out. I may not need that much, but that's what I'm going to start with. Let me grab my ribbon scissors. They're paper snips that I just used for ribbon. I'll grab those. Now I'm just giving myself about 12 inches. I'm going to go ahead and cut a little bit of a angle here so that I could feed it through. If I have a hard time feeding it through, I can always use my tweezers to grab it. And then I'm going to feed it through this way in the hole. Okay, come on. There we go. And we are going to just pull it until we have an even thread on both sides. Okay, like that. And we're pulling it like that. Okay, and now we're going to pull it through the top part. I'm going to fold it and just grab it. Like I say, you can use your tweezers here if it's not grabbing right. Just make sure you have it closed like so. Just keep pulling it until it closes nicely. There we go. Okay, now we're going to make our knot. Let's see, I'm going to do it this way. Make our knot. Okay, and let's make our bows. I need to go this way with that. I want to make sure that the glittery stuff is on the outside of the bow. There we go. I don't know if that looks good or not. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. What do you think? Maybe the bows need to be just a little bit smaller. We'll do that. Make them just a little bit smaller. Tie them tight, and then we are going to just snip them at an angle. I can do better than that. There we go. Okay, now you can, use a tag or something if you want to. I didn't put a tag on either one of them. I didn't want to hide any of this beautiful designer series paper. So anyway, these are my bags. I hope that you liked them. I hope that I taught you something. And you can put a whole bunch of stuff in there. I think even maybe a 3x3 inch card package, like maybe 4 or 5 3x3 inch cards will fit in there too. I'm not sure. I haven't really put anything in here yet. I just thought I'd make these cute little bags, these little gift bags, and I'll probably put candy in here. That's probably what I'll do. Some really nice candy, because it's some really nice designer series paper. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope I've taught you something. All of the tools and supplies that I used are going to be listed in the description of the video. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked my video. Thank you very much. And you can also go to my website at www.geamazingpapercrafts.stampinup.net. I hope to be your demonstrator if you don't already have one. So once again, I'm Jeanette with Geamazing Paper Crafts, and you make it a great day. Bye-bye.